the camera on the helmet. Looks good, looks real good. All right. Oh, damn. Hit my garage door. All right, what's up you guys? Josh here with the MC Recon channel. And today I'm gonna go through a couple of the beginning steps that I took in order to get myself comfortable with my new ride. This is my first motorcycle ever, as you guys know. And really you can do this one of two ways. You can do it like me, know exactly which bike you want, go check it out, look at it, and not ride it there. Of course you wanna start it and make sure everything works, but I bought it, took it home, of course, because it's brand new, it's under warranty, so if anything was wrong, I could always bring it back to them. But I brought it back here, that way I can really take my time of getting used to the bike and training myself how to use the clutch, how to shift, all that stuff. That's the path I'm gonna kind of suggest to you guys and walk through exactly what I did to get comfortable with the bike. The other way is either, you know, borrowing a friend's bike, getting comfortable with theirs, and then, you know, testing it out while you're there before you purchase it. But then, you know, you're in front of other people, you're trying to get used to it, you're kind of nervous. So, you know, this is the way I did it. It's the way I'm going to walk through it. But you can do it however you want. The point is to get the bike home. That way you can really take your time, get used to the bike, and become comfortable with the bike. All right, so let me put the helmet on, put my jacket on, my gloves, and then we'll start to go through exactly what I did to get started on riding my first motorcycle. All right. So hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. I'm gonna try to keep the visor up as much as possible. And let's go ahead and get everything else on. So I've got the glasses, the jacket. And if you guys are into RC cars, look, squirrel, check out my other channel. I'll link it in the description. It's called RC Recon. So you guys can see some of my hobbies, what I'm into: anime, Ohio State football, RC cars, of course, basketball, football, all kinds of sports. And you know, I'm gonna actually leave the glasses off. They're kind of fogging up a little bit, and I'm not really gonna be riding too far in this video. All right, so I guess to start off, you wanna make sure that you're really comfortable getting on the bike. You should have done this whenever you purchased it, made sure it fit you okay. You either have just your toes on the ground, or you can almost flat foot it like I can on this bike. All right, but of course, walk up to it, grab that front brake, and get settled. Bring the kickstand up. And some bikes you need to hold in the clutch in order to start it. On this one, actually I think I have it in first gear. No, it's in neutral. So as long as you're in neutral, you can start this one. And of course, like a car, you may want to allow it to warm up before you actually start riding. This is one of the great things about motorcycles, is you get some good power, but you get some really good gas mileage as well. All right, let me go ahead and take this out to a spot where we can talk. All right, so GoPro died, so I had to run inside, grab a fresh battery, but we're back in action. Okay, so first thing you want to do, get in an area where you know it's safe, either your neighborhood or a parking lot. And our goal is actually to, you know, I'm taking my gloves off so you guys can see, but our goal is to get comfortable with the clutch grab point as we're releasing the clutch. So to start off, what you're going to do is, of course, start the bike, pull the clutch in all the way, hit down on your clutch pedal right here to get into first gear. And then, even though we're on a little bit of a hill, try to get onto a flat area and really start to feel where that bike is going to start pulling you forward. And then I want you to pull the clutch back in. You can keep your feet on the ground if you want, because we're kind of going to do this in place. Pull the clutch in and then go back to our starting point. You're really just trying to feel where that clutch grabs without applying any throttle. So let's go ahead and get it started up. Put our brake on, clutch down to go in first, and then without any throttle, release the clutch handle to feel where it starts to grab. So no brake over here, we're just holding the bike, and we'll start. So see where that bike started to move forward. I'm releasing the clutch. You can even hear the motor start to bog down a little bit. If it gets away from you a little bit too fast, just pull in on your clutch and gently apply your front brake. So let's do that again. So we're gonna pull that in, apply our front brake, come back to a stop. You're gonna wanna do this a couple times. You don't wanna do like 20 or 30 in a row because you're gonna wear out the clutch prematurely, but just really start to get that feel of it. Apply your brake, and what you're doing is you're working up to releasing that clutch fully and moving forward in first gear. So let's go ahead and release the clutch all the way. We're not going to use any throttle, and you'll see a lot of these newer motorcycles, they've got enough power where they can get you into first gear, especially on a slight hill like this, without any throttle. So again, I'm not going to give the throttle. I'm going to make sure that it's clear over to my right. I'm going to release the clutch all the way, get into our right side of the road here, and just let it ride in first gear. So there's that grab point, and now I'm all the way out. So it's in first, it's moving on its own. And you know, if I give a little bit of throttle and let go, you can see it's riding along in first just fine. So if you want to stop, pull in the clutch, apply your front brake, and come to a stop. So whenever you're comfortable to turn around, of course you can go ahead and do that, just so you're not getting too far away from, you know, your home base or wherever you're practicing. So again, I'm going to release this clutch, make sure there's no traffic around. Release this clutch, not giving any throttle, just letting it go, and we'll continue to ride forward. There's that grab point, and now I'm all the way out. Giving just a little bit of throttle, and really it's a very, very tiny twist of the wrist on the throttle. You can see here how small I'm moving that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get down here and turn around. Clutch in, apply a little bit of brake, come to a stop, left foot down, and we're ready to start again. Now we're on a little bit of a hill here, so we're not going to be able to just pull the clutch out. You can see I've got it halfway, and it's holding its position. It's trying to go, but with this little bit of hill, we're gonna need to start applying just a little tiny bit of throttle. Now that grab point is where you can actually give a little bit of throttle, and you're doing kind of a balancing act between you know, the clutch grabbing, the motor and the transmission making contact. You can see it's doing it right there, and then giving a little bit of throttle, and that balance between the two will help get you forward. And then once you feel the bike is, you know, really going forward the way that it should, release that clutch all the way, and you know you're in gear. I'm gonna clutch in, brake in, left foot down, get the bike balanced. And again, I'm on another hill here, so I'm gonna release the clutch, give just a little bit of throttle, and we'll continue to go. About halfway point, feel it start to bite, a little bit of throttle, pull out a little more on the clutch, and we're off. I'm gonna get down here and turn around. And here I can actually clutch in to make this part a little bit easier. And now we're kind of going downhill here, which is fine. So the first day or two, that's really what I practiced. You know, getting it into first gear, getting the bike moving like it is, even with the clutch in like this. If I'm going downhill, I take this opportunity to really get used to how the bike is balanced. And all of that, of course, is going to be important in your first several weeks of getting used to the bike. So again, if you can do this in a development that you're comfortable in, we can actually come to a stop, you know, come to your stop signs and really have very limited traffic. That's going to be the best thing for you. That's better than a parking lot, in my opinion. So we'll go ahead and halfway clutch out, give it a little bit of throttle. And you know, even with the clutch, even with the clutch all the way in, you can give it as much throttle as you want, but you want to gradually get into first gear. You can go ahead and give it a little bit of throttle now, clutch half out, and that's how you start off a little bit faster, clutch all the way out. Just keep in mind, if you continue on the throttle, you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to start shifting into second gear. So this is all going to be one video, but I really suggest you guys take your time in learning how to get it out of first, or get it into first and get moving before you start focusing on shifting. So, all right, to shift out of first, and this is going to apply if we're getting into second to third, to fourth to fifth to sixth. You're going to want to feel the motor, listen to the RPM. Once it gets past a certain point, just like in driving a car, and I should say you should really know how to drive a manual car before getting on the bike. All of the steps are pretty much the same. You get into first, just like we talked about. You build your RPMs up, and then when you're ready to shift, pull in on your clutch, drop the throttle. So you want to drop the RPMs down. You're going to kick up on your shifter. Right now that brings us into neutral because we're stopped, but bring it up past neutral into second. Then you're going to apply a little bit of throttle, release the clutch, and you'll be in second gear. So we're in neutral right now. I'm going to step down on the shifter to get us into first. I'm going to get us started off. I'm going to go ahead and do everything like you normally should, and then we'll talk about it some more. Coming to a stop, stepping down on the shifter to get us into first. Now we'll start us off again. Clutch out, a little bit of throttle, clutch all the way out. About 3 or 4, clutch in, up on the shifter, off the throttle, and then applying a little bit of throttle and bringing that clutch out. Coming to a stop, clutch in, brake, shift down, and we're gonna let this car go. Here I'm gonna do a U-turn, just go ahead and clutch in. Go ahead and do the U-turn. And I know I'm going to be coming to a stop, so I'm going to step down on my shifter, get us down into first. Front brake, a little bit of rear brake. When we're almost at a stop, left foot down, right foot down. Okay, we're going to do it again. Clutch midway out, throttle, ready to shift, clutch in. And it's almost a simultaneous thing. Clutch in, throttle down, shift up, almost at the same time. Once you get used to it, it's really going to be muscle memory, but like I said, it's almost all at the same time. Watch my hands here. Okay? And we want to be careful not to pull the clutch out too fast, but the shift, the pull in on the clutch, the release of the throttle, and the upshift of the shifter is all going to be simultaneous. So we're going to clutch in here, turn around. We'll go ahead and come to a stop. Okay, clutch midway out. Simultaneous. Okay. And that's going to be the same no matter, step into second, third, fourth. We'll talk about downshifting a little bit later. And since I park it in here, I put it into neutral, drop the kickstand, and then shut it off. If you're parking, in a parking lot or whatever, it's normal to keep it in first, shut it off, and then release the clutch. Hopefully this video helped you guys in getting started on your bike. Again, this is going to be a several day thing. If you take your time and getting comfortable with starting from a stop and shifting from first to second, then you're going to be well on your way to getting out on the open road. But like I said, do this in a safe environment within your development or in a parking lot. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Subscribe if you want to see the next video, and my progression as far as what I did to get comfortable riding a bike. I'm not saying it's absolutely 100% the right way. It's just what worked for me. And even before I purchased this bike, I watched a ton of videos about, how to shift, how to start. You can watch this one, but I highly recommend you check out as many videos as you can before purchasing your first bike. Anyways, that's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.